We're going to talk about another way to graph equations, and this one is in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, I think, is the easiest way to graph an equation. It's y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept and m is the slope. So we just got done talking about slope, which is of course my rise over my run. And we've talked about intercepts already. This is in particular the y-intercept. So let's take a look at how we would use that to graph very easily. So in the past, when we graphed, we would have to make up values for x and then find what y is and then plot those points. Or when it was in standard form, we plugged in 0 for x and 0 for y, so we found 2 points. Now we don't have to do that. To graph, we're going to start by plotting 0b. So what's b? Negative 2. 0b would be 0, comma, negative 2, because negative 2 is my y-intercept. And then I'm going to use my slope to move up or down, which is my rise, then right or left, which is my run. So my slope is 2/3, which means 2/3 is a rise of 2 and a run of 3. So I'm going to rise 2, run 3, rise 2, run 3, as many times as I want. Now, let's say I had to have 3 points, but I ran out of room. Remember that 2/3 is the same as negative 2 over negative 3. So I could have a rise of negative 2 and a run of negative 3. And notice that's still on that nice same line that I drew for the other points. For our next example, same idea. We're going to start at 0b. So that would be 0, comma, 1 is my initial starting point. Remember, my initial starting point is always on the y-axis, so don't start here, start right here. My slope is negative 3/4. So when I write negative 3/4 as rise over run, I can either write negative 3 over positive 4, or I can write 3 over negative 4. So just one negative, don't use 2. Negative 3 over 4 means I'm going to go down 3, but I'm going to go positive 4. Or I could have gone up 3, a rise of 3, but a run of negative 4. So it's going to look, well, do a better job of actually hitting the points than I did. So it's going to be a line that looks something like that. Y equals 4x is in slope-intercept form, even though it doesn't really look like it. So I gave you 2 things different on this equation. There's no plus anything, so it's plus 0. And there's no run, which means let's make it a fraction. 4 is the same as 4 over 1. So that means I'll start at 0b, which is 0, 0 at the origin. My slope of 4 is actually 4 over 1, so I'm going to rise 4, run 1. Or I could have gone down 4 to the left 1. So that's my very steep line right there. Here's one for you to try. So try this question, then press play to check your work. Here I would start at 0, 4, which is right up here. My slope of negative 2/3 I would write as negative 2 over positive 3. So I would go down 2 to the right 3. I really can't put another point because this one would be off the graph, this one would be off the graph this way. And so let's just connect the 2 points that we have and put an arrow on each end. Notice here the negative slope that obviously is pointing down from left to right. So a good idea to check to make sure it's pointing in the right direction. On this question, we're asked to graph using slope-intercept form, but if you'll notice, this is not slope-intercept form, because slope-intercept form, we all know, has the y all by itself, and then the whatever the x value is in the b on the opposite side. So on this one, I would actually have to do a little bit of rearranging to turn it into slope-intercept form. So I would subtract the 4x from each side, which just moves the 4x. That gives me 2y equals negative 4x plus 8. And then I'm trying to get y by itself, so I would divide every item by 2. So my equation would be y equals negative 2x plus 4. Then to graph, I would start at 0b, or 0, 4. My slope is negative 2, which as a fraction is negative 2 over 1. So down 2 over 1 as many times as I need to. Connect the dots. Same idea here. Go ahead and try this one on your own and then press play to check your work. Here I've got an equation that's in standard form. 3x plus 4y equals 4. I'm trying to isolate y, so let's move the 3x to the opposite side. Again, you're in MA 102, so you don't have to show that step. You can just move it over. Just make sure you keep the sign correct. And then I'm going to divide everything by 4. So that would give me negative 3/4 x plus 4 divided by 4, which is 1. So I'm going to start at 1 and use a slope of negative 3/4 to go down 3 to the right 4 and connect the dots.